Hey guys, Josiah here with Aesthetyx Fitness. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make a protein pumpkin pie. Alright, before I get started with today's video, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and click the little bell icon. That way, every time I come out with a new video, you guys are getting notified so you don't miss out on any great new content. Also, if you feel like it really helps me out if you hit that like button down below as well. Now that's out of the way, let's get started. Alright, so it is spring, almost summer, and I figured what could possibly be more seasonally appropriate than pumpkin pie? Actually, no, I just love pumpkin pie and recently found this recipe and modified it slightly for my own purposes. To give credit where credit is due, I'm linking to the recipe down in the description below that I found and modified to make my recipe for some protein pumpkin pie, because pumpkin pie is one of my favorites, but it's not particularly healthy. Very high carb, kind of high fat, and not a whole lot of protein. We're going to turn that around today, so without further ado, let's get started cooking.
Alright, first things first, let's start with our crust. Now this is optional. If you want a lower carb version of this recipe, just make a crustless pumpkin pie. But anyways, we're going to combine a half cup flour, half a teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, and half a cup of Greek yogurt in a mixing bowl and mix together until roughly homogeneous. Then get it out of the mixing bowl, put it on a well-floured surface, and roll it out until you get something vaguely pie crust looking. Mine is not pretty and not quite big enough. Maybe I should have used a little more flour. But anyway, get that in your baking pan, patching any holes as you go. It doesn't have to look that pretty. Again, it's all going to taste the same in the end. And once you're done, just pop that in the oven at 350 for 5 minutes. And now let's get started on our filling. In a bowl, you're going to combine an entire can of pure pumpkin, 2 tablespoons of sweetener and 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 whole eggs, a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, a teaspoon of cinnamon, and a half cup of skim milk. In my case, I used Fairlife skim to up that protein content and lower that carb count even further. Stir that all together till it's pretty homogeneous, and then to that mixture, you're going to add 1.5 scoops or roughly 45 grams of protein powder. Then stir it all until it's all evenly combined again, and once it's all come together and is nice and smooth, you're going to show that off to the camera, and then take it and empty the entire thing into your 5-minute cooked pie crust. Now you're going to just empty that all in there, smooth it out, make it nice and even and as pretty as you want, and then take the whole darn thing and stick it in the oven for 20 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, at which point we will turn the temperature down to 300 degrees Fahrenheit and cook for another 20 minutes or until a knife/toothpick inserted into the pie comes out relatively clean and we're greeted with this beautiful, delicious looking masterpiece. Alright, it's not that pretty, but I promise it tastes good. More on that later.
Now, obviously the finished product looks like a pumpkin pie and it smells like a pumpkin pie. The crust is a little janky, as I mentioned earlier, but you know, we're eating it, not just looking at it. But the real question is, how does it taste? It tastes like a pumpkin pie. Texture is perfect. The crust is not quite as flaky and crumbly as a normal pie crust. It's a little chewier because there's no butter in it. But honestly, not a big sacrifice. I'm here for the filling anyway. And yeah, it tastes like a very mid to low range pumpkin pie. This is not, you know, your grandma's special awesome pumpkin pie. This is like the clearance pumpkin pie at the grocery store. But again, this is much healthier. You're getting a ton of protein, almost no fat, and pretty low carb. If you want to make it even lower carb, you can sub out some of the sugar that I put in, or you can just make it crustless and just make like a pumpkin pie filling without the crust added, even lower carb, and you'll still get tons of protein. You could have this as a meal and not feel bad about it. So yeah, I would say definitely worth checking out, guys. Let me know how you like it in the comments down below. That's it for today's video. Make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed the video and comment down below with how this recipe turns out for you, and subscribe so that I can keep helping you train smarter and look better.